Meet me. Welcome back, boys, to another episode of Dr. Squirrel Commentates. Now, this one's going to be a little different because the previous ones, it was kind of like quote unquote live commentary because it was the first time I saw those matches. I already watched these finals, so I can't do that for you guys this time. But if you enjoyed those and still want me to do them for some reason, there are a handful of matches from the past I haven't watched yet. So, what we're going to do today is kind of a retroactive commentary because a lot of people, especially newer players, they usually don't know what's going on in the draft and what's going on behind these decisions. Like, it's not random. These things are very carefully calculated by each of the players. And if you do a lot of high end RTA, you can pretty easily figure out what they're thinking. Sometimes, there's like toss ups, particularly in the ban phase, but the drafting phase is usually pretty clear cut as to what they're trying to do, especially after the 3 pick. So here we have a Tohsaka Rin versus, I think they called him Rock Brother, obviously the crazy random named guy. And we're going to actually listen to some of the commentating. They say some silly things, but let's go to this first pick right off the bat. So the finals were a little different. I mean, not even the finals, but the World Championships were a little different because unlike regular RTA, there's 2 pre-bans per person. And that's huge, actually, right? That has a very big impact on the game. And let's try to understand these. So I never played this guy, so I don't really know how his heroes are built, but Tohsaka Rin is clearly telegraphing that he does not want to deal with his speed contest control heroes. So I'm guessing Rock Brother has like 300 speed flurries and F10As and stuff. Tohsaka does not want to deal with that. Conversely, Rock Brother is just banning out the most common DPSs. These are the 3 core DPSs in the game right now: Landy, S10A, and Carrot. And you're going to see that Tohsaka Rin immediately picks S10A. And honestly, in this case, this is a no-brainer because you took away 2 of her biggest counters. The other person pre-banned them both. Take S10A because it forces Rock Brother to draft around it. Either he has to ban S10A or ignore everything else that Tohsaka gets to draft. So let's keep going.
Zero tier against 10A, an early pick.
So here, honestly, Rock Brother kind of goes safe. Crow is just a very safe pick here because Crow's just deadly against, particularly because these are both like Asian battle group players, and they love playing double Soul Weaver. And Crow's an excellent choice into that because you can bust through tanky stall teams with the S3. And A Taiwan is kind of a soft counter to S10A. Not even so much because of the S3, but because a lot of the danger of S10A comes from the soul stacking. Like, a lot of players will just do nothing with S10A, and once they stacked up like 40 souls and battle frenzies at like 4 or higher, they'll just blow up your entire team in one set of turns. So A Taiwan kind of keeps that from happening by keeping the souls at a low level.
Taiwan early pick.
Carrot picks. Strider Crow.
Alright, so he drafted really quick after that. But LR Crow and Ruel, obviously LR Crow kind of hard counters A Taiwan, and Ruel just gives him some sustain because maybe he didn't have enough information yet. I believe that Rock Brother partially took DN to steal it from Tohsaka Rin because these Asian players love running Ruel DN together. And the T Surin pick, I think, is quite good here because T Surin is a hero that deals with S10A pretty well, although it does become a little rock, paper, scissory because what might happen is S10A can get lucky with Soulburn S1s, but the thing is he kind of protected himself against that with the A Taiwan pick, right? Because if he could keep the souls from ramping up, S10A can't do that, and then T Surin's effectively invincible against this team.
I actually want to see he's like 300 plus R.
Yeah, same with me. Like saying that my
Fast forward.
model removed.
So I gotta say, I didn't particularly like the SSB pick here, but I get why he did it. I think it was to give a way to constantly break T Surin out of stealth. The Tomoka pick I love because honestly, this is one of my favorite drafts, Tomoka into DN teams, because it's basically a must ban. Because here's what you do: if on the 5 pick, Rock Brother tries to speed contest, just ban the speed contest. If they don't try to contest speed, you ban the Crow, and there's a 0% chance that that DN survives a Tomoka S3 into whatever the follow-up is. Like Tomoka S3 plus LR Crow S3 with no damage mitigation, 100% kills the DN. So effectively, Rock Brother has to ban this Tomoka, so it's a great
Has
pick.
The last slot, for the last slot. Rin.
Rin, how can
Very good. He's a
That's a
Arby.
probably will be banned.
So here, he last picks Arby, and it makes sense, right? Because Rock Brother knows that he has to ban Tomoka, and he probably knows that Tohsaka Rin knows that he has to ban Tomoka. So he just picks Arby because he doesn't care. Like, they both know what Rock Brother's gonna ban, and Arby is actually pretty scary against Tohsaka Rin right now. Now, the one piece of information I don't have that I'm sure Tohsaka Rin has is whether this is degen or speed. Although it's also possible he had both because a lot of top players just plus 15 to Arby's. But regardless, Arby is a pretty solid threat if Tomoka's off the board. If it's a speed Arby double gab, Tohsaka Rin's team does not have much damage mitigation at all. Possibly just an adamant on the LR Crow. Double gab is immediate game over for Tohsaka Rin. So he basically has to ban this Arby as well for the most part. Or he could I don't know. I think he actually just has to ban the Arby unless he knows it's a speed Arby and is pretty sure he can soul burn kill it. But he does have Crow there to protect against that.
I think I saw this picture. Like drafting.
So they end
Arby
up banning the
after seeing
Tomoka. This was guaranteed. The Arby, I think Tohsaka Rin could have went with a different ban, possibly. But Arby was also a safe thing to ban as well, so I don't think that was a bad pick. So in terms of predictions for this match, I honestly think that it could kind of go either way here. I mean, again, we know what happens, but I don't think that this is like some drafts right from the drafting phase, you know it's over, right? I don't think this is one of those cases. I think either player could have won, but I think honestly, Rock Brothers draft was a little bit scarier because this like Tohsaka Rin didn't really have many great answers to the T-Surin, especially if Rock Brother was smart about managing the SSB counters.
It means that we'll see some more
And he's a top player.
solid
We know he's going to be smart.
Right.
I believe this is what the
with buff.
will be.
Alright, so DN S3's here. We're going to mute the commentary for a little bit so I'm not competing with their voices. LR Crow burns the S3. I mean, at this point, he might as well, right? Because he wants to get that immunity up to block a Tywin shenanigans, and also he knows that a Tywin's going to be stealing his souls. He could have tried to hold it, but then I don't know how much effectiveness Rock Brothers A Tywin has, but that's going to be a disastrous opener, so he really had to S3. And let's check out this damage. Like, this T-Surin almost one-shotted this T-Surin. Wait a minute. What artifact is this LR Crow on? Well, is he on Portrait? He's on Symbol of Unity. So Tohsaka Rin had 0 damage mitigation here, right? That's why that S10A took so much damage. So this is not really a tanky team. So Tohsaka's draft is kind of weird in that he almost has like a tanky bruiser team drafted, but they're actually super squishy. So this is why I brought the SSB. That was a very solid counter. 1 SSB counter, and T-Surin's already at half. But the thing is, this speed tuning's not too good for him, because now he's going to get knocked into stealth. T-Surin does go in stealth. S10A can't hit. Obviously, he's going to dump the S3. But with the way the speed tuning works, this Ruel is going to die. Because she's not going to get a turn before that Crow is back up. Alright, DN barriers. This is the problem with tank SSBs, right? I mean, it's not really a problem, but they just don't do a lot of damage. And it's also, it looks like a lifesteal. Is it Bloodstone or lifesteal? It's lifesteal because there was a Reingar's tick. Alright. And as you can see, Ruel is dead deado. Because the Crow's taking all, like, picking SSB into Crow is pretty dangerous because you're basically feeding his S3. Now look, like, T-Cern's in stealth. There's really nothing Tohsaka Rin can do about it. And obviously Crow's going to finish off the Ruel here, because if he doesn't, Ruel's just going to revive. No Aureus or anything to reduce the damage, so super dead Ruel. I mean, even through Aureus, she would have died there. And at this point, it's pretty bad, right? It's pretty bad. Now here, if this is the kind of moment that could make or break games. This is what I'm talking about with the S10A. If the S10A hit the T-Cern here, Tohsaka Rin probably would have taken this match, actually. So this is the kind of RNG that comes into even high-level games. And if he had Soul Burn, he would have had like double the chance to do it. If he killed T-Cern here, he could have won. But he still could have lost, too, even in that case, because E7WC still has his S3 up. And look how much damage this T-Cern does. Jesus. So you might as well go for T-Cern here, because he has nothing to really hit. And pray that this SSB counter will finish it off, and it will. Diane has no way of protecting her now. So T-Cern dies. Rock Brothers' only DPS is down, so it's Soul Weaver double Knight at this point. But he already did enough damage with T-Cern. He just needed to get one big chunk of damage off of T-Cern, and he did. He hit that SSB like a truck, so he's way ahead now. If that S10A had hit the T-Cern way before, Tohsaka Rin might have been able to sustain long enough to finish him off with S10A. But at this point, it's basically over because LR Crow can't S3 yet. He's provoked. They're slowed. They're stunned. And E7WC did Soul Burn that, so he could start the Pain Train. Alright, so I think we could fast forward just a little bit. We're basically just going to see a lockdown onto LR Crow, because really as long as Rock Brother can stop the LR Crow S3, he can't really lose. There we go. Ooh, he gets resisted though. But he's just going to keep going into LR Crow. Here comes the barrier. And he gets to provoke there. Even if he didn't get provoked, honestly, I think it wouldn't have been enough regardless. Because you could see that LR Crow dies here. This team would still have been able to 3v2 these guys, even if they had immunity up. So that's the first match in a nutshell. I think this was a fairly close match. I think, I think Rock Brother probably, from what we heard from the interviews, is probably one of the best geared people in the game. So that might be a big factor as well. He drafted very smart, he played very well, and he got that W. Let's go on to the next draft.
I think it really matters. Like hard change.
Let's go in.
I like to see what these guys talk about in between matches sometimes. Let's listen together.
Ice49 still needs to win 2 more. And still plenty of room for Tohsaka Rin to come back in this matchup. Certainly did not work in his favor. You can see, even with S10A going towards the other side, there's still lots of stun parties.
This is the problem when I have Ruel and opponent has Crow. Like, it's really hard to that calculate the horse damage.
Look, while this guy's talking, this guy looks so happy. Like, this guy in the middle looks like he's about to throw up. He just wants to punch this dude in the face.
Whether Ruel has to.
That's the face of pure disdain right there. All right, let's just move on. They're not saying anything. All right, let's watch this. The pre-bans are exactly the same. There we go. As expected, S10A immediate pick. He banned out 2 of the counters already.
First pick.
Stealing S10A from Tohsaka Rin's side.
Again, the prevent stay. No Carrot, no Landy, no Flurry, no F.
Oh, I remember this. We could fast forward. This is a troll draft. So if we watch this,
They pull
It's the reverse of last team's draft, right? This was Tohsaka Rin's draft last game, and Rock Brother kind of just basically insulted Tohsaka Rin by drafting the exact opposite. They ended up drafting the exact same thing, except watch this.
Okay. Difference.
Draft?
Okay.
RB then. That's like the copy and paste.
Oh.
What is LTC?
Now, this is very important because a lot of you guys must have or may have missed this. LQC is a terrible pick here. It makes literally no sense, and he basically auto-lost this match by picking it. Because why? He can't go first before Rock Brother. That's not going to be a brainless, like, 200 speed Tomoka, which means it's going to get into stealth, and he doesn't really have enough damage to break her out of stealth, right? So he can't S3 the Tomoka. He can't S3 the S10A, obviously, because she's permanently stealth. So this pick makes no sense. He should have just taken Arby and tried to do the same draft. But the thing is, if you notice here,
Then that's like the copy and paste.
look where he picked it. He was running out of time. I think it was a panic pick. He literally, for some reason, did not want to go Arby, maybe because, it wasn't the right kind of Arby or he didn't like its gear or something. But I think he just ran out with Landy off the board, Carrot off the board, S10A off the board, Robbie not being a good pick into this. I don't know what DPS options that Tohsaka Rin has, but I literally just think he ran out of ideas because this was an awful, awful pick. Let's see what the commentators say.
No?
But if LQC is banned,
And
it'll yeah,
and Luca gets banned.
it
It will
will
be
gonna be
exactly
same,
the
yeah,
same.
same composition. But Tomoka is pretty much.
No.
Oh,
Wait, what?
Copy and
it'll. But
paste.
oh,
What is LTC? I think LTC will be banned. No?
See, like this guy saying that LQC is gonna get banned. There was a 0% chance that Rock Brother was going to ban LQC. There's no reason to. She is a 0th. Like he has. None of these units can be like bursted down by an LQC at this point. Like none of these are dark units. They do have an attack buff in the form of DN, but obviously he was just going to get rid of it. At this point, because LR Krau's here to give immunity, like he doesn't have to fear the A Tywin right away. If he bans DN, it was a DPS race that he could not lose. So let's try to understand, like, this is exactly why he banned DN, because this team has 0 sustain without the DN, and also completely neuters their damage by taking away attack buff. Now, Tohsaka Rin, I think, honestly, if I was in his shoes, I would probably just know I was going to lose anyway. He ended up banning S10A because, I guess he felt like his team had no answer to the S10A. But honestly, in this, he was already in a bad spot. Like, honestly, if I was him, I don't know what I would have banned, because honestly, it almost doesn't matter what he banned. I think it was most likely unwinnable for him regardless, because of this LQC pick. If he picked Arby, he should have just banned Tomo, and just they could have done the same match in reverse.
I'm counting on the T-Seren's Moonlight Ring. So,
Right now it became very different.
so can Tomoka?
And watch.
Not sure.
Oh wait,
There's really no plays for Tohsaka Rin. Like, I don't fully remember this match, but I remember Tohsaka gets dunked. I remember it was a fast one.
Or else.
Here we go. This is why Tomoka, like, this is why I said that a lot of times against DN teams, you just ban the damage mitigation and leave the DN. Tomoka into LR crowd deletes things.
LQC will target her. Yep.
going.
Straight into LQC.
It's not enough.
8.7k damage.
You could try a little harder.
It's not using a symbol of unity or Portrait of Savior, but instead using Adamant Shield. So
Okay.
the damage was not enough to finish.
And watch this. With this Dignus or barrier, T-Cern is not going to be able to knock the Tomo out. 0 chance.
And T-Serin only critical hit
No.
popped off.
Yeah, the big part is the Attack buff.
No attack radar. But still goes.
Who goes for?
The flowers are withering.
Yeah, way too many immunes.
Yeah. Didn't really make any difference.
Didn't even count for it.
Yep.
The Last Rider Cross actually counters both T0 and
Too
Incredible.
late to back out.
I think LQC will go down.
Oh, Tohsaka Rin's a bit in trouble.
Uh-huh.
See, like, did this guy say that they're in trouble? He's not in trouble at all. I gotta raise the volume.
Trouble.
Uh-huh.
Bit in.
Back out.
I think LQC will go down.
Oh, Tohsaka Rin's a bit in trouble.
Uh-huh.
Oh, maybe he's saying Tohsaka Rin is in trouble? Okay, I agree with that then. He was in trouble from the very beginning.
This is best of 5, guys.
The dual
First
attack
no
happens and
chance.
kills the LQC, but realistically, look at this. If the LQC got a turn, no attack buff, what could she do? Best case scenario, she S3s the Ruel, the Crow horses the Ruel, and then it's a 3v4 in that situation. But it's a 3v4 that Rock Brother will win anyway, in my opinion. Because SSB will be able to knock the T-Surin out, and then the Tomoka can just finish it off. They don't have a Crow S3 anymore. LQC is just dead weight at that point. It's over.
It will be 2-0 if Tohsaka Rin loses this match.
Hey, lose, win.
I agree, but
It's potentially possible.
So he horses here anyway. Obviously, like, there's really nothing to
it's
do
a
at this
little
point.
hard for Tohsaka Rin.
Pretty much. And there's game set 2. Going again to I.
Yeah, I think that LQC pick was just no
49.
bueno.
Is this it?
Oh
Is
my
it going to be a
God.
3-0? Wow. I think both players were trying to place a trap with the ban.
Yep.
And better ended up results for I-49.
If I was in that situation,
Mm-hmm.
I'd throw the phone. I definitely throw the phone.
Not yet.
Meh. Alright. Let's move on to the final draft. The pre-ban
First pick goes
stay
to Tohsaka
exactly
Rin.
the same.
Tohsaka really needs to show his...
Change.
Look at this. Tohsaka Rin gets first pick, and he opts to take Crow instead of S10A. He has
S10A.
lost faith in S10A.
49.
But Rock Brother has not.
Let's advance together.
Look at this. Rock Brother really loves that DN. I think he drafted like S10 a DN every time he could.
Oh, guys.
Guys, it's
Wait,
best of
wait.
5.
Best of 5. If I win, what? Great.
Chloe finally.
So he mixes it up here. This time he takes Maid Chloe. Well, I don't remember the rest of this draft. I don't know how much I like that pick. Honestly, if I was him, I would have taken LR Crow. Like, he's damage weak right now. He needs to draft damage, but Landy, Carrot off the board into S10A.
Good cleanser and attack buffer with a resurrection.
No haste.
Oof.
Yeah, that's what I
Alright, there we
wanted.
go. And this is a bad situation, right? Because ML Haste is probably the hardest counter to main that there is. It basically means that if he lets it through, he's going to have a bad time, but there's probably going to be another scary threat.
Chloe, right?
Now, here's another problem about drafting like this, right? Because what would actually be a must ban for Rock Brother here? Basar, right? Like, Basar totally shuts his team down. But when you draft like this early, the problem is Tohsaka Rin actually can't take Basar right now, right? Because if he does, he only has one slot left for a DPS, so Rock Brother will just ban the DPS. And sure, his first few turns are kind of annoyed by the Basar, but DN can just S2 and wait out an extra turn, and they don't have the damage to do anything in that time. So even Basar, even though it effectively shuts down all 4 of his units, Basar is not a viable pick here anymore.
But we're really looking for the last bits of damage for both players now.
Not sure, but and blood and haste. Like if you,
That's
so if
good.
you have, yeah,
No.
right.
Relying on the last. Come down to this.
So LQC, I think, is a very smart pick. The one problem with it is that it kind of tells Rock Brother that the Blood Moon haste is getting through, right? Because again, LQC is kind of a weak unit if they don't have dark units, and obviously he's not going to S3 the DN. Riolet isn't a terrible pick here. The problem with Riolet, and we'll find this out soon, is he is a super everyone used to say that he was really strong and stuff, and he is. The problem with him is the consistency. It's kind of the same reason I don't really like using Floria, although a lot of top players do. It's just, it feels so bad to lose when he just randomly get hit for no reason. It just stinks. So I know a lot of top players just stopped using him for that reason, because you'll draft him against someone like 500 points below you, and then he'll just die in one hit to an RB
That's a
gab.
gamble. That is a gamble.
Right.
Both going for.
So again, T-Surin comes out. T-Surin is an excellent pick here because honestly, like Riolet can't do anything to T-Surin. Pretty much no one on his team can do anything to T-Surin except the
for
LQC
big
splash.
chance opportunity. And the ban.
And where his 300 Bassar? 10-8.
So let's understand the bans here. I think the LQC ban was pretty obvious, right? Because it was kind of unlikely that Tohsaka Rin was going to ban the T-Surin, right? Which means if Rock Brother bans LQC, Tohsaka Rin literally has no real viable way of getting to and killing this T-Surin. Conversely, Tohsaka Rin could have banned T-Surin, but the thing is, his team has 0 answers to S10A. His only answer to S10A would have been an S3, a random 5 focus S3 from Riolet that one-shots her. And that is not a high EV play, right? That is a very low percentage chance play, especially with the end, because if anti-crit did its job, even if he landed it, it wouldn't kill. So I think the bans from both sides are correct, but looking at this, it's kind of a bad spot for Tohsaka Rin already, right? Again, I think he just kind of got outdrafted. He has a Tywin into an LR Crow. He has made Chloe into a Blood Moon Haste. He has a Riolet. I guess that's okay. His real only shot here is to time the Riolet and Crow S3s perfectly and one-shot one of these units.
And we go in.
Which is a lot easier said than done.
Championship point for I-49.
Yep.
But you know, like Riolet isn't that great against T-Surin.
Yeah, but still, he has his potential, you know? Like, when attack 5 times.
So a Tywin just kind of S1 there. I don't know how much effectiveness his a Tywin has. Maybe he actually thought the provoke could go off. So one important thing to note here is, why did the LR Crow not S3? So this is kind of a lot of the big decisions come from the drafting phase, right? But even in the actual matches, there are some big decisions to make that differentiate top players from kind of like lower tier players. So I guarantee you 99% of the players out there in this same situation would have mashed that S3 button, right? Because they would say, hey, a Tywin didn't S3, I can give my whole team immunity, and then I can't be controlled by a Tywin. But what's the problem with that? He's not going to kill anything with that S3, right? And Rock Brothers' team actually doesn't have that much damage. So if he does it, he can get stalled out, and LR Crow kind of does nothing for 6 entire turns, right? But if he times it right with the T-Surin S3 and the Blood Moon Haste S3, he actually has the ability to delete someone. And he, even if he gets locked down by a Tywin for a turn or two, it's not a big deal. So he's not too afraid of it. So there you go, he S1s. Looks like he chooses a Tywin as the tunnel target because it's the easiest thing to do, right? He doesn't want to give Rylot focus. He doesn't want to make it easier for Crow to horse. So a Tywin's just the safest play.
Wow. Let us
You
not
need, you need to keep this guy alive. And make sure you ride the horse. That's why you have that much HP.
I will fight.
So the one reason that
Oh, basket up.
And there's that 3-turn gab again.
fight from Arrow Crab is that you just want Crowd as healthy as possible, preventing
yeah.
wars.
But it means that you're gonna face 8 Tyrants.
That dual attack is actually pretty big.
That dual attack.
Forest wills.
Come on, guys. Move forward.
You know, with a combination of DN's attack buff and Alexis basket, Peace now having a longer attack later buff. Like 3 turns in total.
Together.
And just use 1 turn, now we have 2 turns.
Root for the player that you think is going to be the champion. 49 has
Please save us.
high hopes right now. Tohsaka Rin. 3 games in a row. It's not impossible.
And there we go. Tohsaka Rin finally has 3s. The problem with this, though, is he wasn't able to soul burn it, right? Didn't have souls. So it's off the table for a long time. And he got all this stuff off. At the same time, it doesn't accomplish a whole lot, right? Because now what? His only damage is Rylot into a Blood Moon Haste and a DN. Now, his real only shot here is to, like, wait for this anti-crit to fall off and try to one-shot. But again, like, solo Rylot, it's not likely he'll be able to do that. And the Crow is actually taking no damage, so he can't even horse anything.
I will guide you.
Rylot
through
should, I think a Tywin or Rylot.
Cheap.
Buff time.
Ooh. Will he use it?
Not a bad timing.
Alright.
But
Targeting a Tywin.
wait.
I think this is another important play to note, actually.
Not a bad timing.
Alright.
He's still holding the
Targeting a
S3 because the LR Crow is provoked. You can see that he's trying really hard to line it up.
Wait one more time.
Oh.
Another important thing to note is he knows he can't kill right away. Just let the battle frenzy ramp up.
How long do you Might be the last match of 2021 E7WC. And they have to think twice before they act.
No attack buff, but no. Okay, here we go.
On the end,
0% chance this kills.
we definitely will survive, yes, but
I believe this is what
Not
I
even
want.
close.
my tongue's kind of little.
Beautiful beings. Death is your repentance.
Comes again the buffs. Attack. Hit res.
Aw.
Okay, this situation is perfect, right? Because DN has her S2 up, the LR Crow's gonna follow up, you have a Blood Moon Haste, T-Cern, and LR Crow that even if he gets provoked, you can cleanse coming right up. This is where he has everything lined up perfectly to go for the W. And if Maid Chloe wants to revive, Blood Moon Haste is there to punish it.
So both players are waiting for lots of interactions.
Let's advance
Provoke.
together.
And here comes the cleanse.
He raised with DN skill 2 if it's ready.
My goddess.
Tohsaka is really like
And it's Pain Train time.
revive because of Blood Moon Haste.
Oh well.
And
I don't have the time.
on the other hand,
See,
I
even
don't
though
mind
he's at full health, he uses this to make sure the damage going out is huge.
To me.
Oh my god. Oh.
Gab
Somewhere.
Gaming.
3 turns attack greater.
Here we go.
Here we go. And it might. Oh, it will be. Oh, what? Go.
This might be it.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
where's Ryan?
I mean, they're super excited that the Rylot got hit there, and granted, that is exciting. But honestly, even if it missed, I think he probably would have been either dead or very close to dead. So it didn't matter all that much.
What?
I mean, make Chloe. Oh!
and its game. So, I think those were the matches. I hope you kind of enjoyed this analysis of it. I think Rock Brother is just a very good. I mean, he's the world champion. Obviously, he's very good. But I think he just had really good drafts and just a very smart player. Played the actual rounds themselves perfectly outside of just being a very good drafter. And I think Tohsaka Rin made a few mistakes. I mean, obviously, he was on the biggest stage, and, number 2 in the world is still pretty damn good, right? But, like, the little things like this, like, I mean, maybe one of you guys can explain this to me, but I can't think of this being anything other than a mistake here. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my take on these matches. I look forward to seeing more of these tournaments in the future. I hope they got some more knowledgeable commentators in the future, though. But other than that, I think the tournament itself was awesome. I loved seeing a lot of these top players play. Yeah, I had a blast. Anyways, thanks for watching. Till next time, boys. Peace out.